Hello, it's June the 30th, it's the last day of the month, and it's end of month bot haul. Yes, hello, welcome to my channel, and it's that thing that I do every month, where at the end of the month I show you everything that I've collected throughout the previous month. And obviously last month I had a bit of a bumper haul last month. Yeah, was it 20 well over 20 items. And as you saw, that video ran out to way over an hour, and it is the longest, biggest video I've ever done on this channel. Didn't mean it to be, but that's just how it turned out. This month I have a slightly more meager, well, I won't say meager, slightly more restrained haul. I haven't been going mad at it this month. So I've got like 10 bots to show you, I think 15 items in total. So I want to get things moving, so let's get into it. Right, I've got my little cheat sheet here that lists everything that arrived in the order which they did. So let's get on with it. So yeah, June, first thing to arrive, well, obviously on June the 1st, which was a Friday, I do that thing where I go uptown to Spartown Comics and get a bunch of comics. And obviously, as I've mentioned in previous videos, the person I usually deal with at Spartown Comics is a woman called Lisa Marie. And she's very nice, and no, she used to. They had this thing. They used to have a little pop-up cart in the town centre, but that proved to be a little bit too expensive. So they, when their contract came up for renewal, they cancelled it, and then they moved into a nearby pub up the town called the Royal Pug. So they go into one of the sort of like the areas in the back of the pub, and she used to set up, and people used to come in on either a Thursday afternoon or a Friday, and then come in and collect their comics. And once a month they have what they call a preview evening, where they stay through till about, I think it's 7-8 o'clock at night, and then people could come in and get previews of upcoming comic products. Now Lisa she's pregnant, basically. She's going to be having a baby soon, so she couldn't carry on doing the the comic collections. So she's stepped back from this, to have a baby. So she's not going to be, well, she will pop in from time to time, but she's not going to be doing it full time like she was. So instead, another colleague from Comic Connections Banbury has stepped in. None other than Sid Beckett, aka See No Kibble. Yeah, so obviously he now owns and runs Comic Connections in Banbury, and he's taken over Comic Connections on a Friday afternoon. So I've been getting my comics through him now. So on the 1st of June, I went uptown, and Sid had a couple of comics for me. Got Lost Light number 18. Yeah, obviously, as we know, IDW is coming to an end, so they're sort of winding the relevant stories up. I mean, I used to get up to 4 comics a month, but now I'm only getting 2. I'm only getting the Lost Light and Optimus Prime. But I've decided I'm going to see the IDW comics through to the bitter end. At one point, I was a bit upset that this thing was happening. That Hasbro had decreed that the IDW should finish their business with the comics winded up and reboot the whole line. And then when I saw how IDW is gonna go, finish things off, they're gonna basically go out for this massive, great rip snorter of a blowout, where Unicron's going to come in and basically kill everything and everyone. And it's so they're all gearing up to this massive extinction event that's going to happen. It's going to, was it wind up in, is it no, September, isn't it, when this is all coming to an end? Anyway, so the Lost Lights, yeah, they think they're in the afterlife, the afterspark. They think they're dead. They're in the afterspark, waiting to be absorbed into the Matrix. But it turns out they're not. They're on some planet that is making them believe it's basically a euthanasia planet. The robots go there when they want to die, and it lets them die in the most painless way possible. In euphoric, but they don't want to die. They've got unfinished business, so they've finally figured out where they are, and they want to get out of it. Good thing about this is the scavengers are now with the Lost Light crew. So yeah, so if you look there, There's a Misfire, and they've got Croc. He's there. Yeah. So that they're on there. So that's all right. That's going good. Then the final part of the Wreckers trilogy, Requiem of the Wreckers. So not many characters in this. It's basically Springer, Impactor, and a few others. Now, a lot of people, huge fans of Last Stand of the Wreckers, massive cult following. Then you've got Sins of the Wreckers, which isn't, well, I don't know, you can argue it isn't quite as good, but you know, there's some pretty heavy stuff that went down in that as well. And this sort of ties the thing all up. Interesting things happen in this, most notably of which we get these flashback panels that have been drawn by Jeff Senior in, you know, Marvel G1 style, and they're absolutely brilliant. So there's a couple of pages throughout this this book where Jeff Senior comes in and does his bit, and I really like that. They sort of wind the Wrecker trilogy up quite well. Now, Chris, Mr. Six Shot Changer, if you're watching now, I know you don't like Springer because of what happened in, you know, the Wreckers comics. You went off Springer as a character. Have you read this? Have you read this? I want you to read this, and then at TF Nation tell me, has your opinion of Springer changed any? Because Springer, sort of interesting things happen with Springer in this. So certain things get revealed that, you know, didn't quite make any sense further on, you know, further back. But yeah, I like it. It's good. It's really good. I mean, yeah, Jeff Senior did some artwork in it, so that's brilliant. So that sort of winds that up. So that was the first couple of things I got this month. Right, moving on. I want to try and keep this thing going. Right, next thing to arrive. They arrived on the 1st. Then the following day, the 2nd, which was a Saturday. Pre-order from Kapow. Power of the Primes, Leader Class, Rodimus, Unicronus. He arrived. Now, obviously you had the Evolution Optimus Prime, the Evolution Rodimus Prime. They're okay, they're good, but me, I want to go for the black repaints if they did them. And fortunately, they have done black repaints. They've done Rodimus Unicronus, and as we know, hashtag it's all about the goatee. Yeah, so he's got facial hair, so we like that. It's all right. Some of the engineering on it, I mean, obviously you've got, you know, visible fists there because the Deluxe basically forms the shoulders and the chest plate of the armor set. He has got some very loose leg joints. He just likes to fall over backwards. Well, they're not exactly tight. Yeah, so when he's standing up, because he's got a really heavy backpack. Most of the Winnebago forms backpack, he likes to fall over. I might have to do something about it's basically the knee joints and the heels are loose, so together they just sort of fold backwards. So getting him to stand up is a bit of a mission. But he's good. He's good. It's decent. I'm glad I got it. Got it pre-ordered from Kapow, and it arrived on the 2nd. So yeah, got hold of him. Then next, on the 4th. Now, as you've seen, I've been doing this restoration series with G1 Ultra Magnus, and I had one part left over that I hadn't got. I actually pre-ordered it in May, back end of May, and it arrived on the 4th of June, and it is the one of the large fists. It's the right hand one. So this was the final part I needed to complete my G1 Ultra Magnus restoration. It was quite yellowed, this part, when I got it. It was almost bright yellow, but as you've seen from my restoration video I've been doing on my G1 Ultra Magnus, I've now been treating the sun fading on the white and the blue plastic parts of the trailer section, where you buy some hair care blonding gel, and then you slap it on with a brush, stick it in a Ziploc bag and leave it out in the sun for a couple of hours, and it basically cures any yellowing you've got on white plastic parts or any other sun fading issues you have on blue plastic parts. It's been working brilliantly. So I've been curing the sun fading, and obviously I did this yesterday evening, so that's fairly white again. and that was the last part I needed for my restoration on my G1 Ultra Magnus, so that's going quite well. Next, right, 5th item to arrive on the 11th. This month I decided pick up some of the stragglers from the KTRT lines that I've been collecting from, and Tobot Athlon Season 2, I'd sort of overlooked the characters from them, and I give reasons for that, because I would have got them earlier on, but then some other YouTubers, English-speaking YouTubers, reviewed them, and that just then I lost the emphasis of doing them myself, so I just lost interest in them, didn't get them. So just more recently I've been picking them up. So I got Rocky, was it a couple of months ago, last month before? Anyway, so now I've got Vulcan. He's a big red fire truck. He's pretty decent. He's got a few more articulation joints than an average Tobot. He's got a waist joint and a what's it. I've done a modification to mine. Mine now has a head pivot, because the head was sort of sunken down into this neck cavity, and it's all part of the gimmick for the mine core. But yeah, I did a little mod to him. Did a review on it, and it got really poor viewing figures in the first sort of 24-48 hours, and I was really disappointed by that. And as you'll see from my next KTRT review, I tried to do something about it. But yeah, I got him. He's pretty cool. He's decent. Enjoying him. Next, obviously, again, doing this restoration on the G1 Ultra Magnus, I removed, when I started restoration on the trailer section, I removed what was left of the old decals. They were getting a bit tatty and they were a bit crooked, so I removed them. But that meant I had to get some replacement decals, so obviously I need to go to Reprolables. So I placed an order with Reprolables, and on the 12th, my order arrived. Obviously, they sent me a couple of sets of faction symbols, because they always do that, and I've got absolutely loads of these. I want for nothing for faction symbols. Then I also ordered G1 Battle Trap, because my G1 Battle Trap is a bit beaten up. He's sun faded. The decals are either missing, or someone's been, as you can see, they've been drawing on them with black markers to try and make some sort of like shadows, make them like like a cartoonish shadow. So yeah, he needs some work. So I thought I'd get some decals for him. Also, I thought, well, whenever I do an order with Reprolables or toy hacks, I like to put like 4 or 5 sets on, buy some Reprolables for other figures, just to boost the order up. I mean, it just seems a bit ridiculous to just order one set of decals that's probably worth £6 and get it sent from over the pond. You might as well spend like 40, 50 quid and get like 6 or 7 sets of decals and get them sent over. So Warring Pocket DX9, Warring Pocket Dinobots, DX9 Quaker, DX9 Bumper, and DX9 Sky or Skyer, and as you can see, I've put them on, so I've been doing them. But the main reason why I went to Reprolables was so I can get some G1 Ultra Magnus Reprolables. So yeah, these are the final thing that I need to complete the restoration on my G1 Ultra Magnus, and yeah, so I've got them, and so when I start putting the thing together, slap some Reprolables on it, and it's going to look absolutely spiffing. So yeah, got those. So that was that. Now, yeah, moving along swiftly. Oh, yeah, 14 minutes, not doing too bad. Right, that was item number 6. Item number 7. Right, another comic went uptown. That's obviously, it was a Friday. It was Friday the 15th. Went uptown, went to see Sid, and he got Optimus Prime 19. So I've got that again. You know, it's the IDW stories are sort of winding down now for this Extinction event that's coming in September with the Unicron trilogy, but they're all intermixed. As I saw from the one-shot comic that I got from not one-shot, the free comic from Comic Book Day, it had a list on the back of all the running list of all the issues up until the end of September. So the storyline is going to go sort of in between Optimus Prime, Lost Light, and well, the Unicron series is going to start. And so Optimus Prime's moving on. Yeah, so there's some surprises in here, like Onyx Prime turned out to be Shockwave. Spoilers. Yeah, so they thought he got sucked into a black hole, but actually got catapulted into the distant past and has now lived through the entire Cybertron history, assuming the identity of another, one of the primes, and then he's been manipulating things throughout time. And because that was a thing, it looks like Bumblebee might be making a comeback. So yeah, so they got that. Then now this next one, I placed an order at the beginning of the month, because usually what I do is I do my online orders, like eBay orders, especially KTRT orders. I do them at the beginning of the month, on the 1st of the month usually, and I placed 2 KTRT orders for Tobot Athlon Season 2 bots. So this was one of the guys that I ordered, and the other guy was Tobot Athlon Tornado, which is the final Season 2 bot that I haven't got. Now, I ordered Vulcan from my usual KTRT supplier, Mr. Soon. I ordered it from him, didn't have any problems with it. Tornado I bought from a guy called Korean Salesman. Now, I've bought stuff from him before, never had any issues with him, he's always been great. So I bought it from him. Buy it now. I bought it, got a notification to say he'd shipped it, give me an international tracking code and everything. And then I was up at Bury a couple of days later, and I started getting these messages from the eBay seller, from Korean Salesman, saying, "Oh, sincerest apologies, but I've I've made a mistake. I thought I had the item that you ordered in stock, but it turns out I didn't. So I haven't got it. It's out of stock. So I'll give you 2 choices. You can either select another item from my shop, on my eBay shop, and I'll give you a 5% discount, or I'll give you a refund." Now, I was a bit perturbed by this. I thought, well, how can you sell something that you haven't got? Basically, he didn't. I don't know how they work. I mean, you'd think he'd do the shipping notification after he'd sent the parcel out, not before. That's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, so I looked on his shop, and there was something else I saw that I said, okay, yeah, I'd like to get that figure. So I got him instead. So I went and bought Tobot Adventure Taekwon K. So I bought this guy. Now, this is the guy I did that review on, review number 142, where I blanked out the thumbnail and the title and didn't tell you what it was. It was this guy. Now, obviously, that little experiment was semi-successful. It did get some views, but also it got a little bit of flack in the comments section. I'm thinking of I'm changing the title and the thumbnail back to what they should be, because this little episode, this little experiment has run its course. I mean, yeah, there'll be bits in the video pertaining to the fact, you've probably there'll be bits in the video which say about what I did, but you can't edit videos on YouTube anymore. Once they're up, you've either got to remove them and replace them, or you can't actually edit a video in situ. But yeah, so I got this guy, and he was kind of like a booby prize, shall we say, because I really wanted Tornado. But I got him. He's a cool looking bot, a decent transformation. I like the vehicle mode. The robot mode's cool, but he's supposed to be in the show. He's a martial arts expert. He's a Taekwondo expert, so does high kicks and stuff like that. But this guy, being a Tobot, he just hasn't got any joints. I mean, his elbows only go to 45 degrees. His knees only go to 45 degrees. No waist joint, no bicep or thigh swivels. The fists are very sort of loose and they keep folding back into the arms. So yeah, the engineering on the bot mode isn't great. It's a pretty typical and disappointing Tobot. But apart from that, it's a good looking bot. And I'd recently watched the Tobot movie, Attack of the Robo Force, and I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And this guy, you know, you see the creation, the genesis, the beginnings of Tobot Tae kwon K. So it's quite interesting in that respect. So yeah, I got him, and he's okay, I suppose. Right. So that arrived on the 16th, and on the same day, Tobot Tornado arrived. Yes. So after I'd bought, well, okay, right. So let's back up a little bit. Now, at the beginning of the month, I was supposed to buy. I'd ordered these things. This guy from one seller, this guy from another seller. Right. The guy I was supposed to get this from didn't have it, so I got one of these instead. But then I thought, you know, I still want Tornado, so I bought an extra KTRT bot this month. Usually I only buy 2, but I bought 3. So I ordered this guy from a different seller, and it arrived the same day as my original replacement bot that was supposed to have been this. So there's a certain amount of irony there. Let's put these away. So yeah, Tobot Tornado, Tobot Athlon Season 2. He's the last Tobot Athlon Season 2 figure. He's alright. He's a bit lightweight and a bit rattly compared to other Tobots. He does have bicep swivels, and he has got a very slight ab crunch. I don't know why. Don't know why he has that, but he does. He's alright, he's pretty good, he's nice and colourful. I love the colours on this, I like the aesthetic on the robot mode, it's really cool, but you know, he's got the ratitude of a KTRT bot. He's alright. And ironically, the seller I bought this from on eBay was actually a couple of quid cheaper than the original price I paid to get this guy out of Korean Salesman. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, so I got him. He's alright. But so I've got all the figures now from Tobot Athlon Season 2. I've got all the Tobot Athlon Season 3 figures, and I've got 2 of the large Tobot Athlon Season 1 figures. I haven't got Theta, the big Theta, because basically it looks like a piece of crap in both alt and robot mode. So I got one of the little mini pop one-step changer versions instead. So that's the KTRTs out of the way for this month. We're only 24 minutes, so we're not doing too bad, and we're about halfway through. Well, more than halfway through actually. Right, again, same day, 16th. Now, as you probably see here, basically here, I like to collect G1 Megotroun Gunformers, and I've got all the molds that I'm aware of that exist, but just lately there's a little knockoff company's been doing a knockoff of a mold I've already got, a third-party mold, that being the DX9 War in Pocket Megotroun, as in this guy. So this is DX9 War in Pocket Megotroun. I really like this mold. I mean, yeah, the aesthetic on the, he's got a kind of a blocky chest. It's got quite a bit of kibble on the back, but you know, it's a legend scale Megotroun. It's got some really cool engineering on the legs. I really like the way the legs work on this guy, and of course it's also got that thing as well. Yeah, that keeps sliding out. But yeah, I got him. He's really cool. But then there's this company called Mech Fans Toys. Now what they've been doing is they've been taking the legend scale figures from other third-party companies like DX9 War in Pocket and Iron Factory mini series, and they've been scaling them up and then selling them out as their own products. You know, that's what KO companies do. But the product, well, the quality of Mech Fans Toy stuff is pretty good, and I haven't bought any up to now, but they've done an upscaled version of this guy, and I was looking at it and thinking, do I really want to get it? And eventually I decided, you know what, I'm going to go for it. So here he is. So this is Mech Fans Toys MF0 Megotroun. So it's T-R-O-U-N, Troun, Megotroun. Now, obviously, there he is next to the DX9, and as you can see, he is slightly bigger. Now, I have got in there, I have got some KO, some oversized knockoff versions of an existing third-party mold. So I've done that before, and this time I was hoping that this guy would be. I mean, he's got a different aesthetic for starters. He's got the grey plastic, and instead of the black, it's like a charcoal grey on the black pieces. They've remolded a few bits. They've remolded the chest. They've remolded the feet. They've shortened the gun barrel. He's got, basically, they've remolded the head, giving him like an MP36 head, and they've given him all the MP36 accessories all scaled down. It's all right. It's decent. It was only $16.99, you know, so it's just under 17 quid, so it's dirt cheap. So I decided, you know, I'm actually going to go for it. Now, I wish it had been a little bit bigger. I wish it had been, you know, like that much bigger than the DX9 version. I wish this would have been scaled up to like a deluxe size. That would have really made this toy for me. I'm a little bit disappointed it isn't that much bigger, but it's okay. It's got nice colours. It transforms exactly the same. It's got a few bits remolded. I mean, the fusion cannon, look how that's got a nice chunky fusion cannon. You look at the fusion cannon on the What's It one, it's like very thin and spindly. Especially when you put it on in gun mode, it just looks pathetically small. This one doesn't look quite so bad. Yeah, now build quality wise, I will have to say the DX9 original does feel quite a bit more solid than this guy. There are a few bits. I mean, like this the little chest piece here. You know, when you flip it around, it always pops off. Some of the joints are a bit loose, like especially that waist piece there. Look. But it's a decent figure, and I'm glad I got it. And then you've got, you know, the box. Now it comes in this box, and now Mech Fans Toys, they've been putting this Lost Planet logo on their figures of late, and I thought, I've seen that logo somewhere before. And then I went through my my Xbox 360 games, and I thought, well, yeah, okay, yeah, it's a different design to the original Lost Planet game, but I'm sure they did like a Lost Planet 3 or a later Lost Planet where they changed the logo to that one. I might have that wrong, but I'm sure I've seen that logo, that Lost Planet logo, somewhere before. But you know what these KO companies are like? They'll just rip any old thing and slap it on their boxes. I mean, for instance, this artwork. Now, whether they commissioned that artwork, we don't know. To me, that looks like, you know, like Dreamwave artwork. You know, Guido Guidi did that. It's like a Dreamwave Guido Guidi design of Megatron. It's got that bulk and that chunk going on. That's what it looks like. I don't know whether it is, but they did it. And obviously on the side, it's got some artwork showing the transformation. But yeah, so I got him, and he's the first Mech Fans Toys product that I've got. He's all right. He was cheap. He has just enough differences over the DX9 original to make it worth getting, but only just. I just wish he could have been a little bit bigger, and then I would have been much happier with him. So yeah, so I got him. And he arrived on the 16th as well, along with Tyquon K and Tornado. Right, so moving on a couple of days, item number 11, another Mech Fans Toys product. So while I was getting Megotroun, I decided I was going to get Ultrl Magnus as well. Now, I'd seen this toy at TF Nation, was it last year? Graham the Collector 75 had one. He bought it along. He bought it and he was showing it. Was it Graham the Collector 75 or was it Mr. Zort Rider? It was one of the two. They had one of these at TF Nation. They were showing it to people, and I was looking at it thinking, you know, that looks really neat. That looks really smart. Yes, again, it's an oversized version of the Iron Factory Legend Scale original. Yeah, so I decided to get it. Again, it was about £16.29, I think it was, to get it shipped from a Chinese seller. Very very nice, simple transformation. Love, you know, this sort of chunky, blocky, bitsy aesthetic that it's got going on. It looks really cool, and it's a really sweet looking mini Magnus. So yeah, so I got him. Yeah, he arrived on the 20th, so got him. And right, so now we're getting down to the end. So at this point, I'd spent, what had I'd spent about half the money that I budget for every month. So I had about 200 odd quid left over, and I thought, you know, there wasn't really anything else out there that I wanted to buy. So I thought, well, you know what? Shall I go for something big and expensive now? You know, something that I've been after for a while. That's kind of an expensive bot, but it's well over 100 quid. And so yeah, so I placed an order with Kapow for a big, you know, a big expensive bot. But then Mr. Zort Rider put a little video out saying that there was a Power of the Primes Wave 2 Deluxes at Smith's. So as I went up to Bury on the weekend of the 23rd and the 24th, on Saturday the 24th, obviously I went up to Bury, went to get breakfast, and then did my walk around the shops, went across the bypass on it to Smith's, and sure enough, they had Wave 2 Power of the Primes Deluxes in stock. Not many, they only had like one or two of each figure, but I was able to get Power of the Primes Snarl. He's really cool. I like Snarl, he's really good. I think personally, out of the Power of the Primes Dinobots, well, the Deluxes, definitely he is my favourite. He's very well made. He's got quite a bit of gold plastic on it, but it's a flexible gold plastic. So I haven't got any worry. I can't see any swirls in it, so I think it'll be fine. It's like a dull sort of oxidized sort of gold rather than a bright yellow gold. He's really cool. I like him. He's a decent little bot. Then we've got Rippersnapper. Now, Mr. Zort Rider was gushing over this guy, and I can see why. Personally, when it comes to the Terrorcons, they're one of those crews of Transformers that don't really do anything for me. The main reason being is that when I used to collect the Marvel G1 comics back in the day, I stopped collecting them in, what was it, 1990, 1991. And the issue I stopped collecting them was issue 199, which was the, was it the first part of the Time Wars storyline, or was it the prequel to the Time Wars storyline? And in that story, you had the introduction of the Terrorcons. They basically invaded a human city and they were, you know, busting everything up. So that was when the Terrorcons were first introduced. But like I said, immediately after that, I stopped getting the Marvel G1 comics, so I didn't see any more. I just got the initial introduction of the Terrorcons into the Marvel UK comics, and then I moved on. And I never really watched I've never watched the G1 cartoon, so they don't really mean much to me. But when I saw that we was getting an Abominus and the Terrorcons, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for them. And this is the first guy that I've got. Now, love the robot mode. Robot mode is brilliant. I love the proportions, the design. You know, he looks amazing. But the thing that really amazes me about this guy more than anything else is the amount of paint apps he's got. This guy is blathered in them. Now, his base colours are this sort of pale whitish grey colour, like an off-white, like a very light grey colour, and the dark blue on the arms and on the legs and the other bits. Right, so they're the base plastic colours. But then you look at everything else he's got. He's got silver, red, silver, yellow, red, silver. He's got blue paint on these claws, blue paint there. He's got silver, he's got black, red, red, yellow, red, and then he's got more silver, a little bit of red there. He's absolutely blathered in paint. I've never seen so much paint apps on a Transformers figure in ages. And he just looks amazing. He looks incredible. So I'm really, really liking this guy, even though in terms of the character, it doesn't really mean much to me. But then again, I had that with Titans Return, was it Trigger Happy? Yeah, I had it with him as well. So yeah, I think this is easily one of the best Power of the Primes Deluxes that I've got my hands on. The alt mode, the sort of land shark that he turns into is pretty cool as well. Yeah, it's pretty decently engineered. But yeah, and obviously he's got weapon storage. Plug the guns onto his shoulders. That's pretty cool. And they plug in very firmly, so they ain't going to go anywhere. So yeah, he is a really, really cool figure. And then the other character I got, because I was buying that big expensive bot, I only had enough money left in my budget to buy 3 Deluxes. I would have bought one of the Voyagers. I would have bought Hungar had the Voyagers been on the shelf, but they only had the Deluxes. So they had all the Deluxes. So obviously they had Moonracer and they had Darkwing, but obviously I only needed one more Dinobot to complete my Volcanicus. So I've got Sludge. Now, Sludge, to be honest, I'm not feeling it with this particular guy. Not that I've got anything against Sludge. This particular toy of Sludge it's very bland. Very, very bland. There's nothing special or outstanding about it. It's very simple, very basic. Hasn't got hardly any extra paint apps on it at all. I mean, when you compare it, to Rippersnapper, no contest. Even to Snarl. I mean, Snarl has got, as you can see, he's got these like tampos here. He's got tampos there. He's got tampos in his Dino mode. This guy's hardly got anything. Come on, focus. This guy's hardly got anything. He's desperately bland. And also, transformation. Not that one, I think it must be the other one. Well, anyway, one of these wings keeps popping off when you transform it. So yeah, not really that impressed with this guy, but I bought him because I wanted to Power the Primes Dinobots, and obviously needing to make the combiner. But I've noticed somebody somewhere said something, I think it was a comment on somebody else's YouTube video, where Hasbro and Takara have missed a trick when they've been doing these combiners. What they should have done, instead of making Predacons and the Predaking the Titan class combiner, they should have done it with the Dinobots instead. They should have scaled the Dinobots up to Voyager class and made a big combiner out of them, and made the Predacons a smaller class combiner. That probably would have worked better. But as he is, he's a thing. I've got him, but he just desperately disappointing, to be honest. So right, that's pretty much all the bits that I got this month, apart from one. Obviously, I said that I'd ordered that big expensive figure, and on the 26th it arrived. MP22 Ultra Magnus. Yeah, so I've been thinking about getting this guy for a while, and because I had a glut of money left over sort of midway through the month, I decided, I'm going to go for him. I was planning on picking this guy up at TF Nation, but then when I thought about it, well, if I've got all this money to spare this month, I might as well buy this guy now. He's readily available from Kapow, and that means I'll have more money to spend on bots at TF Nation. So it was a financial decision more than anything else. I forgot to bring the exhaust stacks up. There we go. So yeah, I love the truck mode. The truck mode is brilliant. Transformation is nice and fun. I mean, on the truck, obviously, the cab comes off, so you get the truck cab, which is more or less the same size as a truck for MP10. I think it's slightly smaller there, but the cab's about the same size. You do get Daniel and Spike figures that you can put inside, and you get a few other accessories. The transformation on the trailer section is really cool, and loving the truck mode. Robot mode, not so much. The robot mode looks the part. It's G1 Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus is one of my favourite characters. However, my first hands-on with the MP22 mould, there's a few articulation joints which either aren't there or they don't work quite as well as they could do, considering it's a masterpiece figure. Obviously, it's got no waist joint, but when you see how the transformation works, that's why that is. There's the infamous butt flap. They could have done something to fold that up, put an extra hinge in it and fold it up the back. He's got a lot of bulk. He's very chunky and bulky, and that bulk works against him in some of his articulation joints. I mean, his elbows don't quite go to 90 degrees. When you do his elbows to 90 degrees, his forearm piece is split open because there's that little tab underneath his shoulder that fouls it and splits it open. So yeah, there's lots of little nitpicky little problems with the robot mode. It looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, it looks amazing. And it's a big ass, Ultra Magnus G1 style. I think it's missing a few paint apps as well, but that's just me. Like for instance, I was expecting some paint apps on the ramps or the shins for the legs. But yeah, but apart from that, he's really good, and obviously he's the biggest, most impressive thing I've bought this month. So now that we're at the end of the month, we have to do that thing that I do this year, the first and worst. Now, it's been really tough. I mean, I haven't really got that many bots this month. I've only got 10, but it was kind of a tough one to pick a first and a worst, because nothing's perfect. What I've picked up, I've always found little minor issues with everything that I've bought, and when it comes to the worst, just because I say it's the worst doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, doesn't necessarily mean I hate it. It just means that out of all the bots I've got, it's the one I like the least. I still like it, just not as much as some of the other things. So, right, I think obviously we're going to do this. So this month, first and worst. Yeah, it had to be MP22 for the first. I mean, he's a character that I really like. It's Ultra Magnus. It's a masterpiece figure. He's big. He's expensive. All that stuff. Absolutely adore the truck mode. Cool transformation. Just the robot mode got a few little nitpicks that means it's less than ideal for me or my tastes. But yeah, obviously he's the best thing that I've bought this month. And the worst, Mr. Bland here, Mr. Mr. Ordinary, Mr. Simple. Yeah, he just so desperately plain. Doesn't really speak to me as much as some of the others. So yeah, he's the worst or the least interesting, least favourite thing that I bought this month. So that is my haul for this month. Yeah, it was a thing. Didn't get quite as much as last month, but I got some decent bits. Moving on to July, TF Nations. What is it? Is it 6-7 weeks away, something like that? I don't know. it's coming, only just over a month away, and obviously I'm going to be buying a number of bots there. But for now, I've got a bunch of stuff waiting in the wings to pull the trigger on for next month. There's some stuff that popped up the back end of this month, which I didn't buy because obviously I'd committed to something else that have popped up that I want to get. So yeah, we're going to be moving on with those. So that's it. That's been TFR Wilderness. Another month done. Another bot haul for you. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time. Ta-da.